The silence inside the celestial tribunal was never natural. It was designed. The vast dome of living crystal muted sound the way deep space swallowed light. Every step echoed just enough to remind visitors they did not belong here. Above, star maps drifted slowly across the ceiling, ancient routes traced by civilizations that no longer existed. Commander Amani Reyes stood at the center of it all, hands clasped behind her back, shoulders straight, heart pounding. Her instincts told her to keep her hands close. Tools went missing in places like this. But this was a royal declaration chamber, and human habits were apparently discouraged. Across from her, seated on a raised platform, was Princess Calith of the Varelian Concord. Calith turned fully toward Amani. "Commander Reyes," the princess said, her voice lowering just enough for the chamber to lean inward. "By our law, by the ancient trial accords, you have earned the right to claim a reward of royal weight." The delegates stirred. Some leaned forward in excitement. Some stiffened in alarm. A few stared openly, because they had never seen a human woman stand this calmly in front of Varelian royalty, and live. Amani blinked once. "Oh," she said. "Right. That part." The chamber reacted instantly. Gasps echoed like falling glass. Varelian elders whispered sharply. A pair of armored sentinels shifted their stance. Princess Calith did not look offended. She looked curious. Amani took a breath. She hadn't planned a speech. She'd never planned to survive the trials, either. But here she was. "Princess Calith," Amani said clearly, meeting her gaze, "I didn't enter the trials to bind you to a law you've spent your whole life carrying." The chamber quieted. "I didn't repair your star engine so I could stand here and trap you with tradition," she continued. "I did it because your ship was dying. And because no one else would listen when you said something was wrong." Calith's crest flickered faintly, a Varelian sign of emotional disruption. "I stood in those trials," Amani said, voice steady, "because you needed someone on your side. Not because I wanted a prize." She paused. "So whatever comes next," Amani finished, "should be your choice. Not mine." Silence fell so hard it felt physical. Princess Calith stared at her as if seeing a new species entirely. Slowly, deliberately, the princess stepped down from the platform. Her long mantle brushed the crystal floor as she approached. The sentinels did not move. They didn't dare. Calith inclined her head, a deep gesture of respect among her people. "Then let my choice be known," the princess said. Her voice changed. Warmed. Lost its ceremonial edge. "I choose the human who reached me not through conquest," Calith said, "but through honesty." The elders stiffened. "The one who offered me not power," she continued, "but understanding." Amani's breath left her lungs. "I choose the engineer who walked into death," Calith said softly, "not for reward, but because she heard fear in my voice when no one else did." Calith extended her hand. "And if you will accept my choice," she said, "then I will walk forward with you. Not because law commands it, but because I want to." Amani hesitated. For half a second, she fully expected alarms. Foam cannons. A diplomatic drone crashing through the ceiling. Nothing happened. She reached out. Their hands met. The chamber exploded. Voices overlapped. Cheers. Protests. Shocked arguments. Political panic. But Amani heard none of it. Calith's grip tightened, firm, grounding. "So," Amani whispered, leaning closer, "does this mean I passed?" Calith's smile was small, soft, devastating. "You did far more than pass," she said. "You reminded me I am alive." The Starship Horizon's promise hummed quietly as Amani walked toward engineering the next morning. She had not slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Calith standing beneath drifting starlight, looking like someone whose universe had cracked open. By morning, Amani was certain she would be demoted, reassigned, or quietly removed from interstellar space altogether. Probably reassigned to waste reclamation. No engineer deserved that. She rounded a corner and immediately stopped. Two junior technicians froze when they saw her. "That's her," one whispered. "The human who..." "The princess." Amani turned sharply and pretended to inspect a wall panel that did not exist. She ducked into a maintenance corridor, only to find a Varelian attendant blocking the far end, staring at her like she might explode into poetry. Amani reversed course and slipped into a storage bay, shutting the door behind her. She leaned against a crate and groaned. "All I did was listen," she muttered. "Humans do that all the time." The lights flickered. The ship hummed like it was amused. 10 minutes passed. Then the door hissed open. Princess Kalith stood there. She looked less startled than the day before. Her crest still twitched, betraying nerves. She held a data slate like a shield. Amani straightened so fast she nearly knocked over a container marked "Do Not Invert." "Your Highness, Princess, Radiance," Amani stopped herself. "I'm bad at titles. Please stop me." Kalith's lips twitched. "I wish to speak with you," she said softly. "Without witnesses." Amani gestured helplessly. "Welcome to the most illegal conversation on the ship." Kalith stepped inside and sealed the door. "I was told," the princess said, "that humans speak without ritual." "Sometimes," Amani said. "Sometimes we really should use more." "When you spoke to me," Kalith continued, "it did not feel rehearsed." "It wasn't." Kalith hesitated. "I was not taught how to receive words meant, honestly." Amani softened. "That's not your fault," she said. They stood there, surrounded by tools and humming systems. Two people who absolutely should not have been allowed to exist in the same space. "And yet, I want to understand humans," Kalith said. "Your directness. Your refusal to obey fate." Amani smiled faintly. "We break things. A lot. Fate included." Kalith's crest lifted. "I like that." They began meeting after that. Quietly. Accidentally. Often. Kalith appeared in places no royal should ever be. Mess halls, coolant corridors, maintenance alcoves. Amani taught her tools. Kalith asked questions no one had ever asked her before. One day, a wrong button press reversed gravity. They collided mid-air. They laughed. The ship did not. The incident report was legendary. Then came the hologram accident. Amani's face appeared in full scale above a Varelian council meeting, frozen mid-panic. The council called it a courtship signal. Amani called it career suicide. Kalith defended her anyway. And when the council tried to accelerate Kalith's binding ceremony, forcing her into a political union, Amani stood in the chamber and did the unthinkable. She spoke. Not as an engineer. Not as a human. But as someone who refused to let another person be reduced to destiny charts. The council deliberated for hours. Then days. Finally, the doors opened. Kalith emerged free, not completely, but enough. The binding was paused. Indefinitely. They stood together beneath the stars. "I don't know what comes next," Kalith admitted. Amani squeezed her hand. "Good. Neither do humans. We do our best work that way." The captain later described the moment as the precise second diplomacy stopped being theoretical. History would call it something else. The moment a human engineer reminded the galaxy that choice mattered. And the stars, indifferent as ever, quietly made room. The pause did not bring peace. It brought attention. Across the Concord, signals began to ripple outward like cracks in glass. Political houses whispered. Military observers listened too closely. Ancient powers that had slept comfortably under prophecy suddenly felt something shift. And they did not like it. Commander Amani Reyes felt it first in engineering. The horizon's promise shuddered, not violently, but wrong. A vibration that didn't belong to engines or gravity plating. The kind that came from intent. She stood over an open plasma conduit, hands moving fast, calm on the outside, focused on the problem in front of her. "Run the diagnostic again," she said. The system responded slower than it should have. That was never a good sign. Amani. She didn't need to look up to know who it was. Princess Kalith stood just inside the engineering bay. No attendants, no guards. Her mantle shimmered faintly, reacting to the ship's stress fields. "Tell me something is not wrong," Kalith said quietly. Amani exhaled. I can't do that, she said. But I can tell you what it is. She wiped her hands and pulled up a projection. The ship's outer shields flickered unevenly. Someone's probing us, Amani said. Soft scans. Testing limits. Military-grade curiosity. Kalitha's crest dimmed. The Council. Not officially, Amani replied. This feels outside the rules. Kalith stepped closer. There are houses that profit from certainty. From prophecy. From control. Amani met her gaze. Then they picked the wrong ship. The warning alarm sounded before either of them could say more. Not a battle alarm. A diplomatic one. Which was worse. The summons arrived minutes later. Unregistered vessel. Non-Concord design. Armed escort request denied. Amani stared at the display. They're not even pretending, she muttered. The alien ship emerged from fold space like a blade slipping free of its sheath. Long angular. Marked with the sigils of House Threx, one of the oldest, richest, and most ruthless powers tied to prophecy enforcement. Kalith stiffened. They are enforcers, she said. They ensure outcomes. Amani snorted. That's a nice way of saying bullies. The transmission came through immediately. This is Magistrate Vela of House Threx, the voice said, smooth and cold. We request immediate transfer of Princess Kalith for corrective consultation. Amani leaned closer to the console. That's a no, she said. Silence followed. Then laughter. A human engineer denies us. Vela replied. Fascinating. Kalith placed a hand on Amani's arm. They will not stop, she said softly. If they take me. They won't, Amani said. Not today. She tapped the console. Captain, she said over comms. I need permission to modify shield behavior. There was a pause. Then the captain's voice, tired but firm. You already did, didn't you? Yes. Another pause. Carry on, the captain said. Amani smiled grimly. House Threx did not attack. They advanced. Slow. Confident. Their ship drifted closer, radiating authority and threat. They believe we will yield, Kalith said. They believe humans follow rules when scared, Amani replied. That's their mistake. She rerouted power from secondary systems, feeding it into the shields, but not evenly. Instead, she let the shield fluctuate, creating what looked like weakness. The Threx vessel adjusted instantly. They're locking on, the weapons officer called. Amani whispered. Good. The Threx fired. The blast hit, and slid. The shield collapsed inward, absorbed the energy, then flared outward in a blinding surge. The Threx ship reeled. What did you do? Kalith asked, stunned. Amani grinned. I taught the shield to punch back. The Horizon's promise surged forward. Human ships weren't elegant. They were stubborn. The Threx fired again, harder this time. The ship shook. Consoles sparked. Gravity stuttered. Amani braced herself. Engineering to bridge, she said. We can't win a prolonged fight. But we don't need to. Kalith stepped forward. What do you need from me? Amani looked at her. Authority, she said. And trust. Kalith didn't hesitate. You have both. Kalith activated the open channel. This is Princess Kalith of the Varelian Concord, she said, voice clear and steady. House Threx, you are acting outside lawful mandate. Vela laughed again. Law bends to necessity, he said. You are destabilizing the future. Kalith lifted her chin. No, she said. I'm choosing it. Amani overlaid Kalitha's transmission with something else. Data. Records. Hidden logs. Prophecy errors. Manipulations. Centuries of guidance that had shaped outcomes to benefit certain houses. House Threx froze. What is this? Vela demanded. The truth, Amani said, stepping into frame. You don't predict the future. You manage it. The broadcast went wide. Every listening vessel. Every Concord relay. The galaxy watched. You use fear, Amani continued. You use tradition. You use prophecy to keep power. Vela's voice hardened. You think this will protect you? No, Amani said. I think it will expose you. The Threx ship powered weapons. Kalith reached for Amani's hand. Whatever happens, she said, thank you. Amani squeezed back. Not done yet. She slammed her palm onto the console. The Horizon's promise dumped all remaining power into a single burst, not an attack, but a transmission pulse. A human trick. The data spread. House Threx's ship went dark, not destroyed, but disconnected, their systems overloaded by exposure. They retreated. Silently. The aftermath was chaos. Political fallout. Emergency councils. Demands. Threats. But something else happened too. People listened. Questions spread. Why were emotions charted? Why were choices restricted? Why had prophecy never been wrong, until now? Kalith stood before the Concord Council days later. Amani stood beside her. Not behind. I will not be bound, Kalith said. Not by fear. Not by tradition. Not by those who profit from my silence. The chamber trembled, not physically, but culturally. Amani spoke when invited. Humans don't have prophecy, she said simply. We break. We fail. We try again. And somehow, we survive. She looked around the room. Maybe it's time you tried that. The vote was close. But history leaned forward. The binding was dissolved. Officially. Later, on the observation deck, stars drifting past like slow thoughts, Amani leaned against the viewport. Well, she said. We might have started a cultural revolution. Kalith smiled softly. You always do things the difficult way. Amani shrugged. It's the only way I know. Kalith stepped closer. My future is uncertain now, she said. But it is mine. Amani met her gaze. So is mine. They stood together, not as engineer and princess, not as symbols, but as two people who had pushed back against the shape of the galaxy. And for the first time in a very long time, the galaxy moved.